Good morning, team.
Oh, Zeke's here. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Zeke.
I knew you'd be crashing as soon as we started.
How are we? Look at all your amazing faces.
Where's your camera at, Zeke?
It's not on.
No, turn the camera on. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. Oh, there's Zeke. Hey. Getting everyone loaded up here. But real fast, my name is Lisa. I am part of the team over at PhotoDay, and today's webinar is all about PhotoDay for school photographers. So we got some of our PhotoDay Trailblazers on here. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to come chat for an hour about all the things. And just some housekeeping rules for you guys. If at any time you lose video, audio, or we lock up, you have a reconnect button at the top of your screen. Try refreshing or hitting that reconnect button. For us guys in the room here, if we can't hear each other or we freeze and lock up, it's the same exact thing except for me since I'm the host. So if I do that, it kicks everybody out. So I can't do that, but everyone else can. But we'll chat with you guys and let you know. For you guys that are watching today and tuning in, feel free to ask questions in the little chat box here, and we will get to them as quickly as possible. There is a 10-second delay from the time we are talking and the time we see your chat message pop up. So if we're delayed in answering you, that's why. So I just want to let you guys know that. But welcome. You can see in here, Zeke, you're good? We didn't get to sound check you, so I just want to make sure before we start.
Apples, bananas. Good.
All right, good. You can
Stop it. You're making me hungry. You're making me hungry.
For apples and bananas.
No, that's not true. You're right.
So everyone tuning in, why don't you tell us where you're located? I got somebody, you guys are already starting to do it. Iowa, we got Bowling Green, Kentucky. Awesome. Shout out your location. And then, of course, questions as we go along. So I guess like one of the big questions I wanted to address here today is we get asked this sometimes, what makes a trailblazer? Like, why did you guys become trailblazers? And just to give a little bit of history to anyone that's new to the PhotoDay world here, first off, welcome. Second, a trailblazer is really an early adopter or an innovator of the PhotoDay platform and sales and marketing process, because it is completely different than what anybody was used to before. So we do things a lot differently here. And each one of you guys has used PhotoDay, implemented it in your studio, are finding great success with it, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So thanks again. So I guess we'll just start. I feel like there should be music or something playing right now in the transition. So we got Maine, Northern Illinois, Washington, got everybody, New York, got a bunch of you guys all see the chat. Just want to make sure you guys all see the chat.
Yep.
I see it.
All right, cool. So let's go around the room. I guess we can start with Sue-Ann. What type of schools do you use PhotoDay for?
I do preschools, daycares, private schools, underclass, so all but public schools. We pretty much cover it all.
Awesome. What about you, Stella?
Basically, I do predominantly elementary schools and private schools. I do have a few public schools, but with COVID, I really haven't been able to use Capture with them because they didn't get photographed last year. At least my public school kids didn't get photographed. So elementary, and then the Catholic schools going all the way up through 12th grade at some locations. So so I will do some senior portraits at those schools that have a K through 12. I really don't do a whole lot of preschools. It's really predominantly elementary, middle school age, and just any private schools that go through seniors.
Awesome. Thank you. What about you, Justin?
Make sure I'm not muted. So we use PhotoDay for everything except, well, dang near everything. We do kindergarten through 12 public schools. I don't have any private. Well, I take that back. I picked up a private school. This will be my first one this year. It's not very big, but we do have one of those. We picked up 3 more extra schools this year over LifeTouch. So we kind of grew our business this year based on PhotoDay and how it works with Capture, to be honest with you. So everybody's loving the paperless forms, and it's just really helped our business succeed in a lot of ways.
Awesome. Awesome. What about you, Zeke? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. So we're a K
Awesome.
through 8, strictly mainly primary school. We do a lot of sports, high school sports, sports leagues, and then we also do some senior portraits as well. So
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So I guess we'll go circle back to you, Sue Ann, and then we'll just go in that same order doing this. And feel free to like chime in between when I ask these questions and just guide. We just really wanted to make this an informal like conversation. So anyone who's interested in using PhotoDay for their schools can really kind of digest the information given today and decide whether it's something that they really want to do or not. So for Sue Ann, like what are some of the things that you love about PhotoDay compared to the previous way? Maybe talk about the previous way that you were operating your business, selling and marketing, and what has PhotoDay done to change that?
Well, previously we were doing speculation. So we would print all the pictures or 3 poses and in hopes that the parents would buy everything. And so a few proof schools. So we had a lot of upfront cost in hopes that we would, make the money back plus, extra. Then we've always worked on the philosophy of work smarter, not harder. So we were always trying to fine tune, cutting little paths out, so forth. Once PhotoDay came about, we were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be, mind blowing. All the stuff that we're not going to have to do anymore. And so we jumped in pretty fast as far as we started converting our bigger schools over. Some of them resisted a little bit because they were old school. But once they saw the benefits and what they didn't have to do themselves and how the parents were happier and, it just, snowballed. But then when COVID hit, it pushed everybody over. So we had no trouble after COVID of telling everybody this is how it is and nobody's fighting us. They give us the rosters and so forth. And so our streamline, I almost worked myself out of what I was normally doing. And now I had to change my workflow to make sure I was making my self worthy of my paycheck. But so because I don't have near the work I used to have, so
you have two full-time photographers.
Yes.
And then how many preschools do you typically do a year, you think, roughly?
Well, we shoot about 90 per season. So because we have some schools that go twice a year and some schools that only go once a year. So it's about 90 each season. So, a good amount. If we had a little bit more room at the beginning of the calendar for like school started ahead bit early, we might have, a little bit more, but about 90.
Yeah, I remember you messaged me not that long ago. You're like, I'm working until Christmas.
Yeah, work until Christmas.
Every single day.
Actually, I start tomorrow. We had a school yesterday and the day before that had to reschedule because of a COVID outbreak. But as of tomorrow, I have no days off until mid-December.
Wow, 'tis the season.
Yes,
it's a lot different than last year.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah. So, Stella, what were you doing before with your schools, like your sales method, and how did PhotoDay change that?
Well, first of all, it's awesome to get rid of the paper, but I used to use camera cards and scanners. And of course, you have the issues of when you outsource to photographers or you have, additional photographers, it's not always you. And even it could happen to me, scanning camera cards, you think you scanned it, but you didn't scan it. It didn't actually scan correctly, whether it was the barcode just didn't get read. And when you've got a room full of kids, it's hard to tell if, the beep went off, if it actually got scanned. You'll see the laser, but you're not always sure. You get back to your office, you download the images, and next thing you know, these kids aren't matched up and you don't know who these kids are. And and then you have the order forms, and so you're delayed in getting things processed because now you need to do a little legwork, which not a big deal. You just email the teacher, email the school, who's this kid, because you kind of know they're in the 3rd grade, or which teacher, you just don't know which kid it may be. So that's kind of embarrassing. You don't really want to have to do that. But also once you do that, then you've got the order forms and, doing the data entry with entering, whether you're merging your online orders into that platform, you're always taking paper forms in addition. So yeah, I've always done and always offered prepay online, but parents don't always go through the whole motions of doing that. So, and you end up with a lot of order forms. So Capture has changed my life. My office is clutter free. It's just, it was a life changer. It was a quality of life changer where now I have more time to spend with my husband, or just book more business and get busier. Because I was at the point where, oh no, I don't want another piece of business. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. So, we all as photographers and business owners, you don't work your tail off to develop a reputation, to grow, to get to a point where you're so busy, you're overwhelmed. So it wasn't really scalable for me. So maybe I didn't do a great job of scaling my business with the paper format, but the Capture format, absolutely game changer. I don't have any, I'll take as much business that I want without any sweat at this point, because I'm not bogged down with the workflow that I used to be bogged down with. So it's been huge for me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Justin, what about you? Like, what are some of the things you love about PhotoDay compared to the old way? How were you doing it before? What's the change?
I mean, a lot of what Stella's just said too. We used to use capture cards as well, and we had the scanner. I had a Nikon D300 that it wouldn't fire unless the scanner read the thing. So we knew that was the backup to not being able to hear the beep or hear it. The camera would not take a picture unless the scanner worked. So you'd have to run the scanner with one hand, have your other hand on the trigger of the camera, and you'd have to hear it, and you'll have a couple seconds to take that picture. So you had to have all this timing set up. Talk about training other people to try to do that. I never really could. So I shoot everything myself, and I'm not quite as big as these other Trailblazers here. We have a measly 10 schools, but I make sure that I don't let anybody else into my area, right? This is mine, and I try and do it the best I can. And there's a lot to be said for that. I built my schools and my jobs based on relationships, and they don't want anybody else shooting their stuff. I just picked up a brand new school this year, actually, that was one of the last ones I hadn't had in our area because LifeTouch had it, but they screwed it up so bad last year that the school came running back to me. Not that I ever had it anyway, but I've been trying to get it for 11 years. So there's something to be said for being consistent and constantly trying to grow your business. If you're small like I am, you have to stay at it. And what PhotoDay allowed me to do is be more consistent in asking and looking and trying to grow my business. I couldn't do that before. Even like we had 8 schools, and I couldn't keep up with the paperwork of that alone. It's a small office. It's just me and my girlfriend. And back then it was me and my parents. My parents got a little older and couldn't keep up anymore. So it was starting to be a problem. Paperwork was really an issue, and PhotoDay saved our business. I mean, I'll go to the grave and say that, because it really did. It helped us stay relevant, and that's the biggest key to it. So.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say this while we were all here, but we did the last boat ride boot camp was out in Justin's hometown of Astoria, Oregon. We didn't say where we're all from. I just realized that. Everyone told us where they were from. We didn't say where we're from. But Justin's little tiny town out there, and it was just such a beautiful town, and everyone knew everyone. And at one point I asked Justin, I'm like, are you the mayor here, and you're just not like telling us? Like, I don't know.
I have time to be the mayor if I want to now, but I'm not the mayor now. But I could.
Not yet.
And then all the models, all the parents bringing their kids for the hands-on portion of the boot camp, and there's all these parents standing around, and you're like introducing us as PhotoDay. This is how you order the photos. I'm like, oh, please have a good experience, please.
You got to take some ownership of it. You got to and they love it. They didn't at first. That's the biggest thing with PhotoDay. It's so different from what they were used to in the past. I did prepaid order forms with camera cards, and switching to PhotoDay was a huge culture shock for everyone at first. I was taught in my age and era that, ordering stuff online was bad, right? It was always somebody had your information then. Well, times have changed. If you're not selling online, you're going to get left in the dust. And luckily we were forced to do it earlier than most, and it's paid off in huge ways for us.
Yeah, Dan just made a comment, kindergarten cop.
Yeah. Well, Dan, it looks like Dan's in Portland, so he knows the area probably. Yeah, kindergarten cop, Goonies, Short Circuit. We got lots of big movies here back in the '80s when we lived free. So.
Nice. Yeah, I guess I said my first school shoot of the season is tomorrow. Did the yearbook photos with PhotoDay last year. Got asked to shoot the seniors this year and do the yearbook again. My biggest hassle is the contract and what poses and lighting I am doing. The school and parents love it. So it's awesome. Awesome to hear. So, all right, moving on. Zeke, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you did things the old way and how did PhotoDay change that something for you? What did it change?
I'm going to address the elephant in the room. I have a flipper in my mouth, so I'm not slurring. I haven't been having some Irish coffee early in the morning, so just taking some time to get used to it. So I just wanted to address that. Again, reiterating what everyone said, it's time management. It saved us some money, cash flow, so we didn't have to print so much paper, waste ink, and then it saved us with time as far as delivering everything, making sure everything's in order. You mentioned being clean and organized. It makes everything efficient. I'm here in San Diego. We have 15 schools. And for me, I have two jobs. So I have a photography business. Up until last year, it was strictly photography. When COVID hit, I went back into our construction industry that I was prior to my photography 8 years ago. And I got a good solid gig. So I'm keeping two. Normally, I wouldn't be able to do that. But with PhotoDay, it does allow us more time to do other things. Like, on top of that, I'm coaching 3 soccer teams, right? So all the last minute preparation, you think you have everything in order, you want to double check, you go through all the papers. It just eliminates all that, so that way you have a well-balanced life. You and your photographers can focus on what's important, and that's just capturing a great smile. They don't have to worry about the cards, scanning. They can just capture a great smile, and it works. Oftentimes, we did the first. We started with QR cards, and one thing I noticed was we were always wasting the good smile with the kid holding the card. It was always the first shot was the best shot. So you wasted that good shot. Sometimes you could crop it tight enough where it worked. Sometimes you couldn't. Then we did barcode scanners, and that worked okay, but you would have a lot of human error with it, beeping, thinking that it transferred to a new file, and it didn't. And then you have to go back, making sure that the camera cards are in order, and you have to double check. And it's just a lot of time wasting. So PhotoDay eliminated all that, and it allowed me to free up a lot more time.
Awesome. So I guess with all of that, all that time you guys have now, like what have you really changed about, what has it changed in your workflow or your day to day? Like, I know, Sue-Ann, you mentioned, you had to find other things to do because you weren't doing all these things anymore that you were doing the old way. So what are some of those things that you're doing now for your business?
Actually, during the day, I'm mostly an assistant to one of my photographers doing the capture app for them, just to keep things flowing, and keeping the kids in line and order. Because with the littler kids, you do need the little extra help, making sure things are, going smooth, no snotty noses, that type thing. But yeah, so I spend my mornings as an assistant. I come home, do what I need to in the office. If I have any bills to pay, anything of that nature, or do any marketing, anything like that. And then mid-afternoon, the photographers upload their photos and I start editing. I just do a quick little, edit and then upload them to PhotoDay, and I'm done. And so my whole workflow is totally reverse from what it used to be. So, but I just became an assistant just to give myself something to do in the morning.
Yeah. There's a question that Karen just had in the room. Are you going to explain what PhotoDay is? I'm not familiar with it. So, yeah, Karen, we'll just go over that really quick. But PhotoDay is a workflow solution and also a commerce site for any type of photography, really. We have people that use it for schools, for sports, for miscellaneous events. And we have a lot of shiny things, right? So at PhotoDay, but I think the biggest shiny thing is that separates PhotoDay from many other workflows is face finds. And basically it's facial clustering. So you're using an image to cluster all of that person's images instead of barcoding or QR coding or writing down numbers. There's no timestamp or anything like that. So when you put that kind of technology into a workflow that's all about faces and images, you're able to do so much more. So what we did at PhotoDay was we created what we call the Capture app. And the Capture app is kind of like that replacement for a barcode or a QR code or tethering or anything like that, where you're capturing a reference photo of your subject on any kind of mobile device. And then at that point, you can do whatever. You can change. It's truly dynamic. You can change the data on the fly. You can add data on the fly. It works completely offline, so you don't even need to be on cellular or Wi-Fi when you're using the Capture app. And then when you upload all your professional photos, they all cluster together into that person's gallery. So it makes the whole workflow seamless. And I think that's what you guys love the most right now is that Capture app. Am I right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It is truly magical. I think one of the first times I seen it work was, it was a guy, he had a pretty big job. It was like 1,200 reference photos or subjects, and he uploaded literally thousands of images, and we're just like watching it match, and it's just like clustering all these photos. I'm like, is it like done yet? It's still clustering, like it's just doing its job. And it was like so amazing to see it all happen right there. And it's somewhat magical. But all right, so we got some more questions, but let me just work around the room and then we'll go to those questions. But Justin, so Stella, you kind of answered this already, but Justin, I'll ask you the question, like, what are some things that you can do now that you weren't able to do before in your business because you've changed to this workflow and you got all this free time? I think a lot of people, they don't realize when they're coming to a more automated workflow, like you're going to have less things to do. So what do you do with that free time now?
Well, it was a learning curve at first, right? Trying to figure out what was free time and what should I be spending my time on after the fact. We used to come home from a school and we would have all the envelopes, right? And so we'd have to go through, open the envelopes, make sure you have all the money, all the stuff, and you'd match all that up. We started doing that later in the process. In the beginning, so let me go back to the workflow of a school picture day, right? You show up. In the old days, I had two people taking money, and they were taking money, but at the same time they were double checking spelling on the cards, because we would print out on a label maker, we would print our cards out right there for the barcode scanner. And so we would double check the names as we entered it into our software, and then we would print it out on a label maker. And then they would check to make sure all the money was in the envelope, check to make sure the name was right. Then that would go to the kid, and the kid would stand in line with that card and bring it to the photographer. But in that process, the kid would also usually meet up with somebody from the parents club, and the parents club person that was there helping would, make sure the hair was right. And then they would get to us, and then we would have another person that helps make sure they get to the seat okay without kicking lights. And then the photographer, you're messing with the card, and you're getting the scanner, and you're getting all lined up, and you take one picture and you got it, and then they're on their way, right? If you didn't get it and you notice a blink or something, you take another one and then send them. So you'd only take one photograph. Now with PhotoDay, it's just two of us now. It went from having a minimum of a 5-human crew to 2 people for 700 kids in a day. Like it literally just cuts your whole overhead down to nothing. So it not only saves you, like people, I see posts sometimes where they're like, why do people want to pay, a percentage of what you're selling? Well, you want to do that because it doesn't come near the cost of paying people to be on site. It doesn't even touch it. Whatever the costs are that PhotoDay, I was against it at first. I remember having a hard time with it. I didn't like paying you guys a little bit extra to use you, you know, that was a bummer. But when you get down to brass tacks and you start doing the math and you figure out, you know, holy cow, I have 3 less employees every job. That adds up way more than what it is that we pay in our little fee to PhotoDay. And it helps us be photographers again. I'm taking 2 to 3 photos of students now, sometimes 5 if it's a smaller school. We don't really, the retakes are nothing. I don't have to buy another package come retake day because the kids spilled some mustard on their shirt. The mom just doesn't buy the picture that time. They come to the second shoot. We still have our retake day. I don't call it retakes anymore. We call it second session because I don't want it to be our fault. It's not our fault that the picture isn't good anymore. There's no more excuses. You're a photographer again. And you don't worry about all that extra fluff. You just get home after you get done with your capture app and you get your pictures, you get home and it just magically uploads to your cloud. When you upload pictures to PhotoDay, it's all right there and done. It's really the most amazing thing you could think it is. Like it's that simple. There's no tricks. Except for the magic you guys create with it. Like that is the trick.
Good put on the retake day. You don't have to set up another job. You can just go out there, dump them back into the job, and you're done.
If we do we'd say we do a school that's 5th grade through 8th grade, then all those kids are in one gallery, but every single kid has their own code. So it's specific to that child. So you have the safety, it's not a public gallery where everyone's looking at all these kids. It's if they don't have the code, it means they didn't get the email because they didn't use the right email when they registered their kid for school. So
Justin, you are a trendsetter. Everyone's calling it second session now.
Yeah, it has to be. It's not our fault anymore. It isn't our fault. We didn't mess it up. And that's what I always had a problem with. And the other problem I had is what a horrible way to run your business where you're asking 2nd, 3rd, 4th graders, sometimes kindergartners, to be in charge of your envelope full of money for your business. Why did we do that for 40 years? What? We got kids that are in charge of our money. No, I know, but man, what a nightmare that is. I can remember a specific instance in a middle school where the kid pulled out their envelope and a $20 bill fell on the ground, and I'm working, and I looked over.
For change.
I noticed it. Yeah, well, I noticed the bill hit the ground. The kid right behind him picked it up and put it in his pocket. I watched it happen. I was like, oh, this is so broken. Like, these kids are just stealing money from me. That's how I felt about it. But, that doesn't happen at all anymore. You don't have to have these kids in charge of your money. You got advance pay. If, parents sign up and get that free shipping. And so, you're getting that money coming in before the shoot. Whereas you used to get it the shoot day. Now you're getting it before shoot day. There's all kinds of things. We could be here forever. But I'm speaking at sync about that stuff, so you guys can come to that. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Shameless plug.
We'll talk about that. But hey, Zeke, what about you? What have you? Yeah, well, you mentioned you went back to work, right? You're at a second job now, and you still have the studio going strong.
Yeah. So COVID, unfortunately, we had to close our studio. Had to we hung on as long as we could here, but just reiterate, and here in California, our insurance, everything that we have to pay to our employees, it's magnified. We pay so much out of pocket here in California. It's hard for small businesses alone to survive. So anything you can do to eliminate that, I'm all for it. And again, for an extra fee, I grew up in this construction industry. This is a family business. So my father, looking at us, he was doing everything. He wore multiple hats, and he did it because he had the old mentality that I'm going to save money. I'm going to save money. I'm going to save money. But one thing that you don't put in the estimate is the value of your time. If you're running a business, you pay yourself more than all your employees. It's going to cost you a lot more than it would if you're paying a system to do things for you. And oftentimes, as self-employed people, we don't do that. We don't take a step back and say, how much is my time worth? We just think, I'm just going to save time. I'll be in here till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, get it done, but I'm not paying anyone. Well, this is the reverse effect of that, where now you're freeing up your time and you can do other things. So I kind of, because there were some questions about the Capture app, and that was one of the big concerns that I had, that I was a fear. And Lisa, I told you that, you better be on standby because something goes on. I'm going to call you that morning up, and it's new. So anything with something new, people are having fear of, right? I wanted to show people how easy the system is. So if you can just, I don't know if you can see that or not. Go ahead.
We kind of see your screen, not really.
Kind of, sort of. There's a glare, but so this is the Capture app. I don't think it's doing a good job, but all it is data. You have the data on your phone, device, iPad, whatever it is. All you're doing is searching for the click, and you filter like you would. You're handing out camera cards, and you go in alpha order by last name. You call them up. You click on the kid's name, and then you're capturing that picture. There's a circle in there, so where you can capture the circle. And that's it. Taking the picture. Now it's matching that image that you captured right there with all the images your photographers are taking. So it doesn't matter what station they go to. They can go to one station and then they come back. Mom wants me to wear a different shirt. They're already checked in. They can go to any other station. So when you go back in the office, the software does the facial recognition where it recognizes all the photos that you took and it puts it in that folder for you. And it's hard to believe how accurate it is, but the only mistakes that I've had were my mistakes as far as being too far or having multiple kids in the picture. But the system itself, it works great. And my only regret is that I didn't buy in earlier because I was kind of being redundancy of doing things, still doing this and then doing things the old way just to make sure I had a backup plan. And it turns out I didn't even need to do that. So this is the key. This is what saves you. Yeah, it's hard to see.
It's not so.
And another question was, what about class pictures? If there's multiple images, so it still finds the image. It only isolates your. So basically, you have two keys. You have their unique password. And then they have their facial recognition. So if you didn't do private galleries, you can use the Face Find tool. And Face Find tool is right there. So all you do is click on that Face Find tool. So at that time, if it wasn't private, you just upload an image of your son or your child or your daughter. I uploaded an image already. Is it clicking? Oh. There it is. So I uploaded the images. Now it's loading. Boom, 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 boom. 30 seconds or less, or your images are free. No. And then it's just going to upload all those images of that child. And it's going to recognize the facial images from the team pictures. And that's it.
puts them all together. Yeah.
I think them all in the gallery. So you can put thousands of images in one gallery. It doesn't matter. It already categorized however it is by grade, teacher. All that information is not necessarily important. It's only important if you were to print and it's coming back to you to deliver to the school. You want it sectioned accordingly. But if it's going directly to the residents, you don't need any of that information. It's done. The parents pay for it. It's done. They pay. It's going directly to the residents. And that's the feature basically in a nutshell, why it saves you so much time.
Yeah, we had some other questions coming in. We'll just get to these really quick before they get too far down the line. But I had one from Rocky coming in for K through 12. Are you putting all the photos into one private gallery or splitting it up for grades? And then also for classroom composite, how does that work? I think you answered that. But yeah, for the I think, Rocky, for the private galleries, especially for schools, each kid has their own gallery. So they only see their photo. That's how you guys are all doing it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like I have the district, right, where I'll shoot K through 2 is one school, and then 3 through 5 is another, and then 6 through 8, and then high school. Well, every one of those brick and mortar schools has a different gallery for me. But if you have freshmen through, 9 through 12 in one school, that's all one. It's one job, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Stella. That's fine.
Well, I was just going to share this because I think I'm kind of looking at some of the questions coming in too with Capture App. And of course, yes, you need the school, or if you're using it for sports or any other event, you are going to need a list of names, attendees, first, last names for schools, usually teachers' names, that sort of thing. That's the data that you need to import in. You do need that to use in the Capture app, because that data is not only in your computer platform, for PhotoDay, but it needs to be, on location in the app using your cell phone, which if it's not on, if you're not collecting data, when you're on Wi-Fi, you can download those reference images when you get back to the office. But I know there's questions coming in about what about schools that won't give you emails. So what I've done, first of all, COVID's helped us in a lot of ways with getting that information. A lot of my private schools have given me emails. I just tell them, I say, I'll just sign a disclosure. I'm only using this to communicate with your parents about how to access their children's photos. I had a sports league that pushed back, but it's a sports league that's associated with the school. They're like, well, we can't send out emails. So my workaround for that is that they have to register for their pictures. So I'll type up, create the Sign Up Genius link. I'm like, you're going to have to send this out to parents, and if they're interested in photos, they'll have to send register for this. And then once they register and I get all those emails, then I can send the marketing flyer built into the PhotoDay platform out to all the parents who have registered. But I am finding it easier to get the emails from schools and just sign a disclosure. I mean, it's no different than them really giving you kids' names and all. I mean, they're still giving you data. You're collecting order forms that have all this information on it as well. So, the difference is it's not coming directly from them. It's coming from the parents. So if the school won't give you just the emails, then you can collect them through another source, of which you can also set up. Well, you can collect an advance pay deposit through as well. So if you wanted to collect a session fee, because we've always done prepay with schools, sports, everything, and that was my big thing. I didn't join PhotoDay until they got the advance pay feature. So if you want, whether it's a sports league or a school, to register first, because they won't give you the emails, and then also collect that deposit, and then you'll do an email, you'll download the data, the kid's first name, last name, and email that's required when they register. Then you just import that data into PhotoDay, and then the marketing flyer that's built into the PhotoDay platform. Now you can email them their private codes. So, there's a couple different ways you can do it if a school or a sports league is not so willing to give you the parent emails. But a lot of us have never asked for it in the past. Once you start asking for it, it's not so strange anymore, especially because of this COVID year with everything being online. It's really been easier for us, or for me, as photographers, as a volume photographer, to have schools and leagues transition to being a little bit more like, yeah, I get it. That's how we're all communicating these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we have a question coming in from Vicky. How do you handle class composites? Who makes them?
I do. So how do I handle that? Well, after picture day and you make the composites, it's kind of like a group photo. Again, all those same pictures that you used for their portraits are in the composite. Once the composites are created, you import the composite in, and it magically populates under each kid in that composite. So now when a parent goes, let's just say you did the individuals, now you did the composites, you can always upload more images in there. So now the composites are done. Those will populate under each kid's unique access code as well.
Awesome.
What software are you using, Stella, for that?
Oh, for class composites? I don't. I send it to Richmond.
Yeah, I send
everything.
I send mine to Reedy, so yeah.
Yeah, so Richmond's who has been doing it for me, but that's who I've been doing it with.
Yeah, we might have some help coming for composites soon. About as most as what I can say about that.
Can I just piggyback before we get off the subject? Like, if you can't get the emails as well, like you are doing a service for the school, and you just have to kind of reiterate that you're helping them, because we're giving back the yearbook photos and all the information back and the pictures for their Synergy to upload. We're also doing student body cards for our bigger schools that want them. So we're doing a service for them. That's kind of how we give back instead of cash, instead of money. We try not to give too much money back because I don't I feel like that's extortion a little bit, but you don't go to the grocery store and say, give me some money back because I bought stuff here. That doesn't happen. So we're trying to change all that. And anyway, if they don't give us the emails, it makes it a little bit difficult for the school because now they have to work for you again. And with PhotoDay, they don't have to work for you they're not like before. You'd rely on so many things for the school, that they were kind of your employees also sometimes. And now they don't have to do that if they give you the email because it's one click, all the things go out. But if they don't give it to you, you can send them links so they unfortunately can print out paper and give every kid in the school a piece of paper that says, here's your code, here's what's PhotoDay, before, when they get that information, they just give them to them at registration day. And then they have their codes and we just have to still just capture app because we have the same information. We get their emails anyway too. Like when they order, we have their emails. We have their telephone numbers. You have to explain that to the schools. The more communication you can do, the better off you'll be.
Yeah. Hey Zeke, how are you building composite?
So I'm using Click Elements.
Okay.
And it's worked out. So again, just exporting out of PhotoDay and importing the images and the CSV into Click, and then creating composites that way.
Awesome. You guys got another question in while we're still on the topic of composites. Do you guys sell them or are they a free product?
I sell them.
I give mine away.
We offer them free, but it's marked up in the packages. So it's just how you advertise it. Nothing's really free, but how you present it is key.
Yeah. So, and you do, Reedy's building your composites for you, or do you guys do that internally?
We don't do composites like you guys are talking about for the preschools. We just do a composite for the school, but we build it through Reedy. I mean, it's just like one picture of all the kids on one image, but not like they're talking about.
Got it. Yeah, not class composites, like a school composite. Yeah, right, for sure. Composite.
And I'll say it's hard. It's hard for us to sell composites for classes because the turnaround on picture day is so fast. I turn my pictures in like 24 hours. So like I'll shoot a whole school and 600 kids and it's up the next morning, like ready to go. And so people are already buying. That next morning they're buying. And by the time I get the composites and all that stuff done and back, and then I go to put it back up, then it just doesn't work right for that workflow right now until you guys do something different with composites and help us out, then we can sell them.
Maybe soon.
Maybe.
Just had another meeting about that the other day. So
awesome.
Can't give too much away, but maybe at our monthly Trailblazer meeting, I'll show you where we're at with it.
Don't worry, everybody watching. When they tell me the secret, I'll let you guys know immediately. I promise.
Yes, Justin is definitely the secret spoiler. Awesome. So I guess let's talk about a little bit about, I think the burning question that everyone usually always has is like, how has PhotoDay affected your sales? In general, like, I mean, plus, minus, like, what's going on with your sales? Sue-Ann, you can kick it off.
Well, my sales have definitely increased. I think the last I looked at the end of this last season, I had raised my average $15 from the previous season. And that was all just marketing and the number of images I was providing. But from before with the speculation, it's up over $20, I believe, total. But the sales are really good. PD 100s are like a daily thing. I stopped competing with Jay because it was getting boring. It's no fun anymore, Jay.
I'll have to send him this clip later.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about him today. No.
Yeah. So, but yeah, my sales have definitely increased. It's allowed me to offer more product, which has helped my sales increase. So it definitely is a plus.
Awesome. What about you, Stella? How are your sales compared to the previous way?
Okay, well, I didn't touch on previous way. Also, with order forms, there was only one image. So I offer I've been doing green screen and multiple poses, so parents have multiple poses and multiple backgrounds to pick from, because I was doing using the PixNub background swapper, and I just was picking like 4 or 5 different backgrounds with the 2 different poses. So parents would actually have 10 different images to pick from. As a result, parents will buy them all or buy a lot of them. So my sales have gone up. My average order value on schools was probably pre-PhotoDay with an order form was probably around, I don't know, between $32 to $35 an order. My school on average now, average order is between about 52 and 55. So it has really gone up about $20 per order. A lot of people get concerned because they say, oh, quantity of sales have gone down. But it's hard to gauge, because with PhotoDay, if they have multiple siblings in a school, they can place an order for 2, 3, 4 kids in one order. So it's hard to gauge if, your quantity of sales have really gone down. I look at the total amount of sales, which to me is most important, because it doesn't matter really how many quantity. I'm looking at the big number, how much, actually came in. And I've been doing this for 2 years now. Well, actually, last year was really my first year with using it with schools full time. I was using it with sports before, but yeah, it's just incredible, the increase in my total sales and total profits. Do you still have people who are late to the game ordering? You always do. We've always had those late people that sit on the fence, but they still want to order, but they take maybe a year to do it. So you try to do through PhotoDay. They offer a lot of incentive options with text messaging and doing a promo or something to try to get those people to order. But overall, even with the people that are on the fence, the total sales have been higher than previous years with the identical schools. Identical amount of children in the schools. So overall, it's been bonus money for me.
Yeah. What about you, Justin? That's great. I love hearing that.
My sales, I really believe they're up 33-34% for sure, across the board. You might not have as many buyers right out of the gate, but when you let I don't expire my galleries. Some people do. I let them sit because you can get $100 order a year later. It happens all the time. So I just leave them up. It doesn't cost us any money for PhotoDay to hold on to them. So why would you take them down? Unless you're trying to create some sense of urgency, but there's other ways to do that. You don't have to do it by pulling a gallery. So our sales are just better. And I think it's because the pictures are better and the parents have more choices. It's just a fact of it. I'm just going to answer PM too real quick. If you lose connection on the Wi-Fi briefly while you're at a school, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have Wi-Fi at the school. You don't have to have it till you get home. Capture App stores it all in your iPad or your phone, whatever you're using. So you don't got to worry about it on site. You don't have to have internet connection there.
Awesome. Sorry. Zeke, what about your sales? No, thanks for answering that, Justin. That's great.
Yeah.
Sales have gone up too. I think the average for my sales is probably around anywhere from 15 to 20%. We went back and forth 2 years ago using 2 different hosting sites, and it was just PhotoDay that kind of was, allowing more picture options, parents being able to provide more options and to select different options, and you give parents control with some of the templates, like for sports. With sports, with the templates, parents could input some of the team names, nicknames of the kids, things like that, where now it gives them a little bit of the design feature, because parents always want control. And in doing so, they know that they get to see the final product and what it's going to look like, instead of getting something like a prepay. You're paying for something, not knowing what to expect, and then you get surprised of an image that you necessarily didn't want or don't appreciate. Now they get to see it, and if the quality is great, now we have to emphasize that the pictures have to be great. If sales are gonna increase, they have to be great. Their parents are gonna look first, so now you give them the option of seeing it, and if they don't appreciate it, then they're gonna want not a second session, but a makeup day. So you have to, everything, the questions from lighting and what type of post-production softwares you use. Everyone's unique. We all use different tools. It's just a matter of what works great for you. But you have to do a lot of trial and error, a lot of testing of your lights, and really don't settle. Just make sure you have it down. Everything is cookie cut, so that doesn't matter what photographer goes to what station or what school. Everything is cookie cut, so it's unique and it's the same. But again, I just have to reiterate, everyone's sales have increased because it allowed the photographers more time to capture great shots, and that's the key point. That's proof.
Yeah, more images, better images, right? It's image
Correct.
first. Images are your inventory. So awesome. Okay, there's another question here. Let me just back up. I don't want to miss any of these. Let's see. Oh, Veronica had a good question. She wants to know about shipping. Are you guys using the bulk feature or are you drop shipping?
Drop.
Drop.
Drop it like it's hot.
So we're dropping. We've always dropped it, but this year is the first time we're going to use the bulk. We're going to try that and see how that goes.
Yeah, and the bulk feature, you can do either, but the bulk feature is available with Millers. So if you build a price sheet with Millers, they are able to do a bulk ship for you. So you can set a deadline date. Everyone has to order by that date. And then you can also give them an option to choose. They don't have to wait for the bulk date. They can choose the drop ship and pay shipping. So you can give them either option, which makes it really flexible for the parents, depending on demographics, where the school is, what they're demanding, all that good stuff.
Again, bulk for us goes back to the school being an employee again. Then they're handing your photos out, and then stuff gets lost, and then you have more issues. And it's just the more middle people you can cut out, the better you're going to be.
Yeah. And I think the selling point to drop too is like you can sell so many more items, right? Fall portraits are usually like a really good for holiday gift giving, but we've always been limited selling underclass packages because you can only sell flat work because you don't want to send like a mug home in the kid's backpack because it'll probably break, right? And then that's it. So you can't offer some of those things, which I think makes it bulk. It still limits the bulk shipping because not all products are available for that reason. So
So I was just going to say one more thing, Lisa. So with the drop shipping, though, I do offer an incentive of free shipping because the parents do have to pay for shipping unless you pay for it. So I always offer, if they purchase an advance pay credit, that they will get free shipping if they spend $35 or more. And then going back to the class composites, I do sell them because a lot of times the class composites take the place of, let's just say I do class group photos for some of my schools, which I did do a couple of those last year, amazingly. But those happen at a different time of the year. So I create a separate job for their groups. And those I do bulk shipping because a parent doesn't want to spend $5 on a $15 8x10 to ship. So I will use bulk shipping for my groups and class composites if they're not done early in the fall, and they can be included in their gallery.
That's a good workflow for that. That makes sense. Create a separate gallery. I haven't heard that idea yet, but that's a good idea, Stella. Yeah,
because you just copy the reference images and it's done. So you copy that job's reference images and then you upload all the class groups and then it's all in there.
We do the free shipping too if they buy an advance pay credit of $35, but then they have to spend that $35 to get it. If they spend $32, they don't get it.
That's right.
And so they have to spend the $35 credit in order to get it. Because anything less than that, you're actually probably dang near paying them. By the time you pay for the cost of goods and shipping, you're paying them to take their picture.
But not hard for them to do if they've got more than one child in the school. So they order a couple of products for a couple of siblings, so they get shipped to home. They get all their sibling photos together. So it's easy to do the $35, and then they get the free shipping, and it's good.
We overthought that in the beginning. We had 5 different options to advance pay. You had $10, $15, $20, $25, $30. That didn't make any sense. So we just this year stopped that, and we only have one advance pay credit. It's $35. If you want free shipping, that's what you're going to buy. So we just took all the other stuff away, and that seems to be easier for our people to understand too.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So
that's
for
two trends you're starting now. 35 prepaid, second sections.
Justin's full of good ideas right now. That's awesome. Got you on a good day. So I just had a couple questions on auto crop. I'll address really fast. The auto crop feature in PhotoDay is only available when exporting. It is not available when you import the gallery. So you'll have to crop your images before you do that. I think Jay posted in our users group last week. He said that R6 is now like you can do a crop in the camera and use those settings to export when you export out of Lightroom, and everything's automatically cropped. He was super excited to see that. I think Sue Ann, you were testing that too,
I'm
right?
gonna try it tomorrow. Yeah.
Guess what Sony has? Sony, you can just change it so that it's an 8x10 in the back of the screen. You don't need the lines even. It just whatever it looks like is the 8x10. So it
nice.
does it too. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the discounts, I'll answer. All the discounts is you have to buy $35 in product first. That's the subtotal before tax and shipping are applied for any of the discounts to work in PhotoDay. So just like any other shopping or commerce site, the retail, the subtotal has to reach that amount before they can use the offer. And then had another question on the auto crop. Will it work on just headshots, or will it do 3/4 and full length as well? It'll do 3/4 length, not full length. So it's 3/4 length or headshots are the limitations of that auto crop feature. And then Beth had a question. I guess she wants to compare the workflow, like it's a QR code workflow to PhotoDay, but I think Zeke, you're the only one that did QR codes before, right? So can you talk about the differences between QR codes and Capture app?
Well, the QR codes is the issue is pre-COVID, you used to be able to go to the student, fix their hair real quick. So as a photographer, I see someone coming in, I'm going to come back real quick and just fix their hair or their sleeve, come back, and I'm going to, you constantly, because I've done it, you start shooting, boom, 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 and you forget the QR code. We've done that numerous times where we had to go back and track it. The main thing was capturing the first facial expression when they were holding the card. It was the first natural smile, and oftentimes I hated it because after that, you're telling them they already have the natural smile. Now you're telling them to emphasize the natural smile, and it becomes more awkward where you're telling them, candy, cheese, whatever, and it's not natural. So the first smile is wasted, and everyone knows, 90% of the time, it's always the first image that's the best image. But
yeah.
I hated that portion of it.
I disagree strongly. I think it's the last image, but I do it different. Only because I have them do a funny face, and then they really smile after they get away with doing the funny face picture. So that's different for me.
It is cute. I've looked at your galleries, and those funny faces are adorable. And they sell. People buy those.
They put them on keychains all day long. All day.
So cute.
But I agree with you. Back in the day when it was just one picture or two, it was the first one, Zeke, for sure. But now with my workflow, I take, I have them sit and I take the first shot, and then I always sneak around the camera and say, do you want to do a funny face? And then they kind of look at me funny at first, like, what? I get to? And then they'll stick their tongue out or give me a peace sign. And then right after that funny face, whatever they do is the most beautiful expression every time. It's always a real smile. It's always genuine, because they just got away with being able to do that. So,
yeah.
And back using the QR codes up until 4 years ago, it was always different steps. You had to take it and you had to import it into one system, export it into another. It just added multiple steps. So I'm sure it's much cleaner now, but that was the biggest pet peeve I had. It was just constantly had laptops on my desk so I could import, export, it was just a pain in the butt.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Well, we are approaching an hour, and I know you guys are all running businesses, so I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. But before we exit out of this, I just wanted to go over a couple of things. Today, we did not do a demo, but I did post a link in the chat for a full private galleries demo here. And I'm also, we are doing on Monday, PhotoDay is releasing our newest feature just in time for the season to start. So let me just get my slides back because I totally did these nice, beautiful slides, and I just want to share it. But so when that was your slide, but Justin is featured on our new knockout feature. So right now you can upload PNGs to PhotoDay, and when you upload the PNGs, and you can attach a Richmond price sheet, and then build your own background collection, and customers can, you know, choose different backgrounds. We were never doing the knockouts before. Knockouts are brand new to PhotoDay. So that is being launched next week, and on Monday I'm doing a webinar, and I'll show you guys the capabilities, how it works, all that good stuff. And then you can always refer back to our webinars page here. I'll post the link, webinars.photoday.io, for to watch any of our replays or register for the new knockout or webinar right here. So Justin, thanks for being the model for knockouts.
You're welcome. It's hard being beautiful, but I try.
I don't know about the Seahawks, though.
Oh, my goodness. Southern California guy over here.
Yeah.
Go Hawks.
Rocky, I'll talk more about that on Monday, but yes, right now the initial release is green screen for optimal results. So yes, for sure. But yeah, and if anyone else has any more questions, feel free. You should have my email. You've got, you received an email for a reminder for this webinar. You can reply back. That's my personal email. And then if you just want to try PhotoDay and just like dive in, and I mean, we do not have contracts. We don't keep payment on file, anything like that. You can go right to our website at photoday.io and sign up. Dive right in, download the Capture app, play around with it, use your previous jobs with it, and just test it out and see if you like the workflow. So you guys are more than welcome to do that. You can just go right to our website, sign up. Like I said, it's totally free. You have access to everything. So thanks for coming today, everyone. Thanks for chatting. I appreciate all the time. And thanks to all of our awesome attendees. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Yep.
And until next time. So,
all right. Good job, fellas.
Happy,
thank you, guys.
Happy and successful fall season to everybody.
I gotta go back to work now.
Me too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.